Roll call.
Travis Kramer,
Here.
Scott Corney,
Here.
Gordon McGee,
Here.
Jason Lucy,
Here.
Paul Kraus.
Here. The Open Meetings Act is posted on the wall. Item 4, consent agenda. Is there any reason we need to pull any of those out separately for anyone? If not, we'll need a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
The fuel is, that's Casey's, or what is that?
That's Shell.
Oh, that's the,
Or,
Casey's, it's the
Casey's.
diesel.
It used to be Shell, now we do Casey.
Fuelman. Casey.
That's just
Oh, that's
Casey's.
just, I'm sorry, yeah,
Okay.
just regular gas.
does all the seasonal help have the same number then, or? Cause like some of them, it says drivers Tyler, and then sometimes it says John, and then it says seasonal.
And the seasonal help, they have the same.
They have this, they all have the same number. Gotcha. Okay, thank you. And theirs are smaller amounts, so I'm assuming they're just filling them over directly, whereas you guys are doing your trucks. Gotcha. Okay.
Just the $50 in a mower. Which is ridiculous right now. It is 40 something.
I'll motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second that.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda as presented. If there's no further discussion, vote on that motion.
Scott Corney,
Aye.
Gordon McGee,
Aye.
Jason Lucy,
Aye.
Travis Kramer,
Aye.
Paul Kraus.
Aye. Item A, Eagle Scout Shelter Project Update. What do we have on that? I'm sorry. Let's go back to item 5. Does anybody have any corrections on the minutes for the May 16th, 2022 regular board meeting? If not, we need a motion and a second to approve them as presented.
Make a motion to approve the minutes from the May 16th, 2022 regular board meeting as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for the approval of the minutes from the May 16th, 2022 regular board meeting. If there's no further discussion, let's vote on that motion.
Gordon McGee.
Aye.
Jason Lucy.
Aye.
Travis Kramer.
Aye.
Scott Corney.
Aye.
Paul Kraus.
Aye. Item 6A, Eagle Scout Shelter Project Update. There's supposed to be somebody here for that, or do we have it?
I spoke with Tom Clapper a couple weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, after a few of us went down to the park, walked a couple areas that might work for the shelter. And I gave him the recommendations from that committee down at Tyler that were there. 3 spots, one north of the splash pad. Our second was south of the pool. Third one was west of the pool. That was the 3 spots we liked. I think Tom was more interested in the corner, but was going to go look at the 3 spots and see what he thought.
Yeah.
And I haven't heard from him.
Okay. Discussion and possible appointment of Housing Authority board members. I know we had one interested. Do we have any more? Then, okay. Thought we had a volunteer with
Jeff Stats was interested in learning more about it.
Okay, that wasn't a count me in. It was a.
That was, I think, I mean, he seemed pretty positive about it, but I think he wanted to learn a little bit more before. Was that the one person you were talking about?
That's the one.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Let's make sure he knows what that's about. Has he been in contact with us with the contract that he needs to bring back? Do you have his info?
I have emailed him about it.
Okay,
I'll have to try and call him.
okay. Item C, discussion and possible approval of partnering with Roots to Wings to improve and maintain planter beds in village parks. We were waiting on an estimate to approve from them. Is that what we were waiting for?
There's one, should be one in your packet.
T3.
Item 6C,
350 in plants, 150 in labor.
this would be a good partnership for us. John, do you have any issues with this estimate or?
Considering the Arlington Community Center building, the multi-purpose building or this building or what?
That would be the community room.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
There's a couple of planners, a couple of areas up there that,
Gotcha by the library there. Yep.
yeah. Can we ask them if that labor includes cleaning leaves out under the shelter?
So you want a motion to agree to not to exceed $500 or?
I think that's where we were at. We just wanted the estimate the last time. We didn't have anything.
Sure,
for us.
I'll make that motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second for the approval of the estimate from Roots to Wings to improve and maintain planter beds in Village Park. If there's no further discussion, let's vote on that motion.
Aye.
Travis Kramer.
Aye.
Scott McCorney.
Aye.
Gordon McGee.
Aye.
Paul Kraus.
Aye. Item D, let's open up the mic for Ben Jewell.
Hello.
Hi, Ben.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How about you?
I'm doing good. You ready for
Well,
me?
what do
Just-
you have for us for, from our survey results and, we'll let you have the floor.
Okay, thanks so much. Hey, Nikki, can I share my screen?
You're really cool. Oops.
Let me see if it'll work.
You have to make him a co-host.
Yeah.
I do.
Yep.
If you go to my little
Participants.
yeah.
Yep. Thing. Yep. More. Nope. Go back up where you were. See where it says more.
More.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Make co-host.
Okay.
Sorry. A lot of work.
Yeah, I know, a lot of steps. And then if you could unshare your screen, then I'll hop on.
Just hit the stop share up on the top.
Oh, thank you.
Yep.
All right, here we go.
Sorry.
Okay. No, that's okay. Let's see. Get this pulled up here. Okay. Can you see that okay?
Yep.
Okay, good. Well, great. It's nice to be here. Thank you so much for having me and giving me some time. For those I don't know, my name is Ben Jewell. I'm an extension educator with the University of Nebraska Extension, and I'm based here in the Washington County office in Blair. Yeah, I'm back to, we ran the survey that we had created last time I spoke to you, and we're back here with some results and some suggestions for next steps. So, but I just want to comment, it looks like you all are doing great work already. And, you know, I see all the items on the agenda. It looks like you're off to a great start with all the stuff that you're doing. So, just quick overview of the survey itself and how it was designed a little bit. So, this was a survey developed by Nebraska Extension that's been used in other communities, I think the first time in Kearney. And then we collaborated with Nikki and the Metro Area Planning Administration, or MAPA. And then I'm sure many of you know Kelsey Wolf is a local business owner. She was kind of instrumental in sparking this off. So we opened the survey on March 16th is when it went live, and then we closed it April 4th. So just about 3 weeks, and we had 141 total responses. So that's actually, that's a pretty decent response given the size of the community. So roughly almost 10%, which is a pretty good response rate. We filtered out 35 respondents who were owners of downtown businesses because we want to talk to them separately, and that residents who don't own businesses in downtown give their full and free evaluation. So in total, 107 responses are in this analysis. And just a quick note that the questions weren't all required. So there's kind of different sample numbers, different response numbers for some of the questions. So just if you see that as we go through. So here's a little bit of kind of your average participant, some background on the people who responded. Age range, primarily 25 to 64, which, makes a ton of sense. We are a little low on the 18 to 24 sample. I would love to have a chance to get engaged with that younger population a little bit more down the road. So that's something we can kind of add to later on if we feel that's necessary. But I think it would be great to have kind of that perspective of the 18 to 24 bracket. As you can see, predominantly a female set of respondents, over 60%. So, this happens. It's not a huge deal. We weren't trying to be entirely scientifically perfect with our sampling. We kind of took who we got. So, but again, it's just kind of one of those opportunities in the future. If we could get a focus group or something of local men to respond, that could help us kind of round out our survey there. So here's a kind of a median household income look at that. When I first took a look at this, I thought this was a little bit skewed to the higher income brackets, but after looking into it and talking to Nikki, she confirmed that, 76,000 roughly is the median income in Arlington. So this actually reflects pretty well the spread. But, I would say, again, just if we could get more folks on the lower income brackets to respond to things like these, we'll be in better shape going forward. So I'm going to just give you a quick kind of overview here to start, and then I'll talk about these a little more in depth. But here's kind of the general findings that we were able to pull out from the survey responses. Kind of first and foremost, and I'm sure a lot of these things you're already aware of, and clearly you're working on them, but just to kind of highlight what was said by the respondents. So there's not a lot of reasons for residents to visit downtown currently. Not a lot to keep them when they do go downtown. One of the questions we asked respondents was, what's the number one thing you do when you're downtown in downtown Arlington? And the number one response by quite a lot was that it's a passing through. They're passing through, they're hitting the highway, they're going somewhere else. So not terribly surprising, but just something to kind of highlight there. As far as what they'd like to see change or what sort of new businesses they would like to have in downtown Arlington, there was overwhelming interest for food-based businesses of various kinds. Obviously, a grocery store is a huge desire for any community. A lot of interest in more diversity in the restaurants that are available in downtown and farmers markets, which I saw you have that in the works now, which is really exciting. So lots of other conversations about or comments about butcher shops and things like that we'll talk about a little bit more. The next thing was just a very strong, clear interest in more activities, particularly activities for family-friendly events and gathering places for youth and young adults. A lot of comments about bars and restaurants kind of being the focus and not a lot for young folks to do in the community. And I think probably the biggest takeaway for me that really stood out was that residents overwhelmingly support the idea of using public funds and private funds for downtown revitalization. So you've got a really good, strong message here from at least this sample that they are willing to put some dollars to this and willing to let it be a public sort of funded venture. So that's good news for sure. Just kind of go through these fairly quickly. Again, I think a lot of this, but it is nice to hear it directly from residents. So when they do go downtown and patronize the service or retail businesses, here's some of the things that they are finding when they're down there, what they experience. Really, number one, overwhelmingly, was that residents feel that downtown is a safe space for them. They felt that didn't have concerns about their family's safety, which is a huge plus, obviously. They also find business owners to be friendly and good at the service industry. And then they reported a lot of pedestrian friendly and convenient parking as the other major attributes of downtown that they were excited about. So on the flip side of that, the things that they overwhelmingly decided were in need of improvement. Not enough variety of goods and services, as we just talked about. Poor condition of existing buildings, and I know you all are working on that and have something coming up later on the agenda to talk about that specifically. So you're well aware of these things. Attractiveness, and then shopping hours not matching resident needs was another big complaint. So people coming home from work probably and finding that most of the businesses are already closed. When we asked them about what would you like to see downtown, what are sort of the service and retail businesses that you feel are missing on the retail side of things? Again, just a lot of different food-based businesses are really desirable for this community. Grocery stores we talked about. The people of Arlington are dying for some ice cream, apparently. So that's a great opportunity for some entrepreneurial efforts, some new business startups. These kind of point a direction to things that people would patronize in downtown. So good opportunities to draw in some new business owners potentially. Let's see. There we go. I'm going to skip over this pretty quickly, but let's see. It looks like we lost the service business part of this. I apologize. It's supposed to be on this slide. So anyway, the service bill, as far as like service businesses that they'd like to see, nail salon was the #1, barber shop and beauty salon was #2, and then it came to sort of childcare and downtown apartments, so residential in the downtown area. But really kind of those beauty and salon sort of area of businesses being the top things that people, obviously this reflects a largely female respondent base, so could be a little bit skewed on that part, but it's definitely there. All right, let's skip forward. We talked a little bit where you asked questions around, if there's a revitalization in downtown, what sort of theme or niche could it could encapsulate it to kind of touch on what's going to happen. A lot of communities, when they do a downtown revitalization will tap into their community's history or local landmarks or things like that, and that'll be kind of a center point for the identity of a revitalization project. But here again, we've got food being kind of the #1 category of responses. Somebody suggested a made local or local foods kind of theme. There comes the ice cream shop again. A lot of different kinds of foods and restaurants, field to table kind of things. And then this last one was kind of interesting, just a bistro feel, they said, with trails, like a small Colorado mountain town. So just some food-based one. Here's some historical things that people pointed out that could be useful for this kind of thing. I'm not going to read all these. We'll just kind of skip forward. And then family-based responses. So family-friendly restaurants, hangout spaces, etc. And this one is worth looking through quickly. It's had some good information about serving families in Arlington and some opportunities there. Here again, grocery and basic needs being kind of one of the things that a family would most want to have close to them. Hardware store, gardening store, etc. Someone suggested an eat-in place that isn't within a bar. Around activities and events, kid and family friendly things come out pretty clearly. There was a suggestion of a downtown block event each night of the week in summer. I see that you have a street dance agenda item coming up next. That was suggested by one of the respondents as something they'd really love to see in downtown. So you're hitting on the right ideas here. And so here's some, just to hit that 18 to 24 bracket I was talking about, we did ask about how Arlington can better serve young adults. Clearly, these are a very important part of your community. They're hopefully the folks who will stick around in Arlington and raise their families and buy homes here So here's what they kind of told us about that. Gathering places being kind of number one, 13 total responses for that. So people really looking for coffee shops, sporting events, et cetera, different hangout, a teen center or something like that, for young people to really hang out and have a safe space that's not attached to a bar or a restaurant. Events, there it is, street dances, young adult sports leagues. This person said activities that don't involve alcohol, and then rec leagues was another main example given. There we go. And then lastly, I'll just touch on this quick. I already kind of teased this at the beginning, but here's the response for would you support using public funds to pay for the enhancements to downtown Arlington? Just over 80% responded yes to that. Likewise, here's the would you support using private funds? Even stronger, over 90% people said yes to that. So a real clear opportunity to sort of capitalize on that enthusiasm for putting some money into this. Okay, so we'll just shift here and spend a little bit of time talking about, some recommended next steps and some thoughts. There's obviously a lot of conversations that need to be had to do a full kind of revitalization strategic planning process, but here's kind of like a little bit of what UNL would suggest from our experience. So when we presented this to Nikki and some other folks who've been working on this, what Nikki told me right away was just the need before any of this revitalization can really happen, the need to deal with the vacant properties, the nuisance code violations and things like that. So obviously you're working on that. I see that on the agenda as well. But just kind of identifying that work that needs to be done and a process for fixing those issues is a really clear first step here, and looks like you're working on that. I recommend, extension or not, but using an organization like Extension to kind of help lead the facilitation process with residents. Obviously the main reason for that is if residents are talking directly to the village board, they're not going to feel as comfortable giving their honest input as they would with an outside agency. So we do strongly recommend engaging local residents throughout the strategic planning process. So this survey is one example of that, but really public meetings with the community to both solicit more input and more feedback about as the kind of plan develops to get it down to some of the specifics that community members would be interested in, but also as an opportunity to report back. Here's what we're doing. Here's what we've done. Here's what's coming up next. It's just keeping that communication open is so key in these processes, as I'm sure you're well aware. So, and then obviously whatever plan comes out of that, a fundraising effort needs to be made to kind of complete those upgrades to downtown. So I'll kind of walk through these quickly. Again, I'm sure you're familiar with all this by this point. So Western Central Development District in Ogallala was really kind of has been one of the leaders in nuisance code violations. They've got a pretty expansive reach now. I think all the development districts in Nebraska now employ this process that they've developed. And you can see that there in the graphic on the bottom. So it's just kind of going from adopting a qualified ordinance, which you're working on, appointing a nuisance officer, administrative procedure, and then due process and notification. So they kind of spell all of that out. It's a really useful site for good information. And just as an example quickly of a community that's gone through this effort, this is Plainview in Pierce County. They adopted a vacant property ordinance in 2019 and very successfully addressed their vacant and nuisance properties. They completed through UNL Extension. We have a program called Entrepreneurial Community Activation Process, or ECAP. So they completed that program in 2020, and it's a multi-week process of learning and devising a strategic plan. So it involves community conversations and different modules of learning and things like that. It's a great process that has real clear results. Since 2020, since they got done with that, they've created 18 new businesses and 75 new jobs were created, and just a lot of vibrancy happening in Plainview since that they've kind of gone through this process too. So just to indicate that it works, there's examples of it working out in Nebraska. in communities not that different from Arlington. So it definitely has a place to play. So if here's kind of what Extension would do in these kind of projects, just as a kind of background for that. We have, so I'm part of Extension, and Rural Prosperity Nebraska is the program area that I work in. And this team is focused on rural community development efforts, everything from leadership development to entrepreneurial development, community visioning. We are all trained in facilitation processes. So we can facilitate these community conversations as they happen, be the sort of point people to make that work. We do a lot of community strategic planning and visioning. I talked about the ECAP process. We have probably one of the best landscape architecture departments at the university in the country. And what's pretty unique about them is that they are really engaged with communities. They don't just stick to campus. They get students out to communities all the time for semesters at a time to really assist with these kind of projects that you're now taking on. So it's a great opportunity to partner. And then you get the experts, the professors who are, world renowned in these kind of endeavors. So it's a good opportunity. And then we can always tap into other UNL experts, depending on the topic. There's obviously a huge amount of knowledge and research and resources at the university that can be leveraged. So when we talk about engaging local residents, we really emphasize the all residents part of this. I think we've just found over and over again when, for example, like the survey, if we were to stop at the survey that we just collected, we know we didn't get an accurate representation of the whole community. We got a part of it and it was a good chunk of it, but it doesn't necessarily represent what the full community feels is needed. So it was really critical for sustaining the engagement with the residents throughout, and also really digging in, making sure, all age ranges are covered, all genders, all, the whole thing. So it's a very, very important part just to embed throughout the process. So Susan Norris, who is the Economic Development Director for Pierce County, where Plainview is, has really talked a lot about how Plainview's success was in large part to their emphasis on the resident input at all stages of the process. She said when she started this effort, started her job in this role, there was a total disconnect between the community, the city, and the residents of the community. So they were not talking to each other at all. And she really identified that as the key part of having success that they had in Plainview. So we typically recommend 3 to 4 community meetings for a process like this. And again, just to solicit input and report back on progress. Here's some examples.
And how do they get people to show up to those town hall meetings?
How do you get people to show up?
Yeah, how did they, did they do anything unique or?
I'll have to ask her about that. I can get some info on that, but it was this ECAP process was the big part of it, kind of the framework for it. I know that in other situations, sometimes communities can offer like a little incentive, whether it be like Walmart gift card or some food, whatever it might be. I always find that food is a great gathering focus area. But I can get some more information for you about what they specifically did there. So just some quick funding opportunities that exist in this space. USDA Intermediary Relending Program is by the USDA. It's a new program. Plainview was the first community in Nebraska to receive these funds of $400,000 that they use to support new businesses. And so that ECAP process is really about creating an entrepreneurial support environment for small businesses, using up some of this vacant retail space to build new businesses and create prosperity in the community. So they were the first in Nebraska to do that. I know they've spent half of that already, $200,000 on those new businesses that I was talking about and new job opportunities. State of Nebraska has an affordable housing fund, and HUD also have grants in this program area to improve existing housing for low-income families, if that becomes something that you focus on. There's obviously lots of federal, state, and foundation options that we could share with you for sure. And then again, just the public funding option, the residents in that survey were really excited about is a great opportunity to think about bonds and other financing options. So I'm going to stop there and just pause and hold for any questions.
Ben, seem like we're struggling moving forwards right now. I mean, this survey has been a good thing for us. With our update to our comprehensive plan committee, it's a struggle getting anybody to volunteer for anything.
Yes.
Would you recommend maybe having a town hall meeting and then trying to move on with that committee? Or are we putting the cart in front of the horse, or how would you recommend moving forward?
Yeah, I think what we would probably suggest is, so if you've got members of the committee identified, is that accurate?
We may have one or two potential. And how big should that committee be for the strat plan?
Yeah, probably not bigger than four.
The comprehensive plan, how big should that committee be?
I would suggest probably 4 or 5, maybe. You don't want to get too big. It just becomes unwieldy really quick. But what I would recommend is setting up a time for the board, for me to bring in my colleagues who are real experts in this particular process, have them present what they've done in other communities, or we can send you some reports or some, examples of what they've done in other communities. I think having a vision for that committee and what its specific role is, I'm sure you have that drafted out. Yeah, once you got that and you kind of have an overall strategic vision for where you're going as a community, then start having, I think a town hall would be perfect. You announce the committee that's going to be overseeing it. You get input from the community again, you share out some ideas about what you're looking forward to, and suggesting 3 to 4. So you could even schedule out these community meetings in advance and let people know right away. There's going to be 3 of these and they're going to be on these dates or whatever. And really, I think incredibly valuable when you get in that situation of talking to a community like that. You're not only taking input from them, but you're really trying to find those champions out in the community who really kind of take this idea and run with it. So you were suggesting, finding people for the committee. So that would be one opportunity, but I mean, there's just going to be so many parts to play, and the more community members you can get on board for committees like this, the better. Just have their voice heard throughout the process. So, but I would start with kind of doing the strategic plan, the kind of whole downtown plan, the strat plan you've already done. So start with myself bringing a colleague in to meet with the group, meet with the board or the committee or whomever, and really kind of walk through the process in full.
All right.
Ben, can you talk a little bit more about Plainview's implementation of their vacant property registration? And I've read through their document, but I'm just curious a little bit more, in practice, how did it work and what did they find effective?
Yeah, I wasn't involved with that one. I don't have a ton of detail, but I can certainly get that for you. I do know from the West Central Development District out there in Ogallala, they have a very clear process so basically they do this fee for service. So they will actually come in to a community, do a windshield assessment of properties, identify those ones that look vacant or violating some code. They make a database of those properties. They, identify the fee amounts, and then they have a process for communicating with the business owner or the property owner. And basically it's like you force them to be registered as a vacant property owner, which is a fee. And then every 6 months that they don't take care of the issues at the property, they assess another fee. And that fee just keeps doubling, typically is what it looks like. So people will charge $500 for the registration, then they charge $1,000 for the first time fee. And then you can keep kind of up on that fee if they don't get it done. And then it's just, I think a lot of it is about communication with the property owner. One thing that the Western Central really emphasizes is not really trying to be the sheriff who's going to run people out of their property, finding a more collaborative approach to working with those property owners. And that's where these kind of funding sources come in really useful as, if you've got a pocket of funds, you've got a business owner who's really wants to do it, just hasn't had the time or the resources or whatever, supporting them with that effort is great for everybody because that building is no longer vacant and the original business owner can do something productive with it. So I think that's kind of the overall philosophy is how can you collaborate with these property owners to help them work through the problems, but while having still a mechanism to, it's like the carrot and stick approach at the same time.
Anybody else have anything for Ben? If not, Ben, I thank you for your time.
You bet.
We'll have to get a group identified and get in touch with you and try and move forward in this. There's a lot of good information there, and I'd like to see us use some of that.
Great.
And make our town better.
I appreciate that. We're, extensions here to support. So I'll do some outreach to my colleagues and see who I can kind of get on the waiting list here to be ready. So look forward to it. Thank you for the time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Ben.
Thank you.
All right. Well, I think we've made Andrew wait long enough. Let's
No, I have a lot of patience, so I want to thank you for allowing me to
Well,
have the opportunity to attend my first town hall.
I'm glad you were able to listen to that
No,
part of
it's
the meeting,
good.
so,
No, let's go.
but,
You're welcome every
I
month.
plan on attending every other one. You guys
there,
are curious, how do you get people here, right?
yeah,
You don't. I think that with proper representation, and community involvement was the big topic. I was told to shut my mouth tonight. So if I would like to present, from what my case, but
let's move on
let's start with my
to,
case.
let's move on to item E.
Okay,
Discussion and possible approval of Andrew Wheeler as the new operator of the satellite Keno operation
don't do it.
located at.
Just kidding.
So normally what we do is, this is only the second time we've had to approve a license, and when they, in the last 10 years. So
Absolutely.
after they stopped doing Keno, we had to reapply. And the first part of it was, we were told, was the liquor license.
Yes.
So my
absolutely.
question to you is, where are you at on that?
You don't want to know. We're almost done. The approval process is underway.
Okay,
It's not a very strenuous process, but I'm sure, as most of you gentlemen may know, it's a process, and as all things, it takes time. So we are in the final stages. We are probably within a week of taking care of that.
Okay.
Beyond that, everything will be within regulations that is necessary. Which at that point, I do know that I'm working with Melody, excuse me, from Big Red Keno, as we would like to maintain our status for Keno within the community, which has been a great thing. But it's not necessarily a privilege as much as it is basically, an opportunity, or just basically a privilege rather, So everything is underway. We are in the final stages, but
well, I'm a little surprised they presented this to us without the liquor license being done. So I kind of feel like we have a couple of options. We could
Sure.
either table it until that time that the liquor license is done and make sure that we fulfill their requirements. Or we could vote pending on approval of the liquor license.
gentlemen,
So,
it depends on how much of a gambling kind of man you are, but I'm not here to gamble. I don't think any of you are either. I'm here to support the community, and I want to maintain basically a stature that we provide not only the ice cream shop or the food and dining opportunity, but rather I would get more involvement with the I was told to shut up. We want to bring an opportunity in, so we'll keep it simple, we'll keep it short. I don't want to waste your time. We'll get everything we need to in place within the week, 10 days tops. Other than that, if there's a necessity to table it, I understand that. But again, any motion to pass is greatly appreciated because, well, you voted on it one time and I'm not here to waste your time. It's important to me to be able to give the community what they deserve, which is just something to do, and that's it.
Yeah, well, the Keno funds are great and we like having a business that's bringing in funds.
Absolutely.
Obviously, any city likes another source of income, so I guess it's up to the rest of the board if you're comfortable waiting or making a motion on approval. What do you guys think?
So approved pending the liquor license. Comes through.
It's fair.
Yeah, I think.
Hey, we all want something that shows it's concrete.
But if we approve it per,
So we could approve your name as the new operator of the satellite Keno operation pending approval of liquor license for the same.
Yes.
So,
So as it stands, everything is still in place. There's no inaccuracy. There's no illegality. Everything is lawfully within recognition and being abided by. There's a transfer, obviously, from one ownership to another, which is what tonight is about. So I want, obviously, you gentlemen to understand that we are within full compliance and understanding of the rules and regulations, supporting your guys' requirements and the community standard surrounding the opportunity to maintain that, but also continue to provide it.
all right,
Um,
But
well,
I also,
There's their discussion. I'll make the motion unless there's other discussion. You guys have any thoughts? Okay. I'll make a motion to approve the approval of Andrew Wheeler as a new operator of the satellite Keno operation located at the barn establishment pending approval of the corresponding liquor license at the barn establishment.
I'll second that.
we have a motion and a second. If there's no further discussion, let's vote on that motion.
Jason Lacy.
Aye.
Travis Kramer.
Aye.
Scott McLean.
Aye.
Lauren McGee.
Aye.
Paul Kraus.
Aye. All right, let us know when you get your liquor light. I mean, that'll come through to us
Yeah,
anyway for approval, so
Gentlemen.
we will know when that happens. And yeah, everything will go through that. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you
I'm
guys.
gonna go, 'cause I want to talk more.
All right, let's move on to item E, discussion and possible approval of street dance for Arlington Post Prom. I don't see. Are they still talking about Second Street? Do you know? I don't see any
They
information.
went and spoke with neighbors and stuff too, to make sure nobody would have a problem with it, but yes, out here. Yeah,
History. I don't know where they're
Yes.
planning on having you talk.
out here.
There's one particular person on the street that I worry that, do you know if they talked to that one particular person?
I
Yeah,
don't know. What they said was they have the same band coming that plays at the Vets Club and it won't be any louder than when they,
okay. Well, and yeah. But once you put it right in front of somebody's door,
I don't think they're putting it down there. I think
it's not gonna go down to the post office. I thought they were originally talking about going all the way down that
It didn't-
street.
that's-
so,
it didn't
Okay,
sound like, it sounded like it would be relatively close to where it would be if they were playing inside the Vets Club.
boy, it sure would be nice to have something solid to approve instead of. Sounds like.
So who is it? Is it Wilkins? Who's the post prom person?
Post prom, Michelle Wilkins. is
Michelle?
who I'm talking to. I requested something in writing.
Sure.
When's the date?
August. Oh, they don't actually have the date.
Is there something at one time gonna be at the?
No date, no for sure in the neighbors. Doesn't sound like we can do a lot with this.
Well, they did one last year.
Did
And
it,
they did it with Summer Sizzle, like the night before Summer Sizzle.
Yeah, it was down at the park, you know,
Yeah, because I remember we had to do something.
out there in the big fence stuff.
Yeah, that's what it was. Okay.
So we could still approve this at our July meeting if they bring us some solid information and dates and times and.
yeah, well, yeah, they won't be able to get their liquor license if you wait till July. Like promoting it and. Michelle? Hey, it's Nikki. It's okay. Can I put you on speaker so they can ask you some questions? Is that fine? Okay. You don't have to shower or anything for this. Okay. Okay, you are on speaker.
Hi, Michelle. How's it going?
Oh, just great.
We're in the middle of board meeting, so anything you say can be recorded. We're just curious, we don't have any map or dates or anything for the street dance. Can you tell us where you want to shut off the street?
Basically, like the part of the intersection, like we did at the other side of the block, how we still left the back part of it. But, and then down basically half the block, so it wouldn't be the whole.
So are you closing off Eagle Street in front of the bar or Second Street in front of the post office and the old supermarket? Where are we talking?
Yes, that part. With the stage would be like in the middle of the street
And then,
area.
and then going
And then-
south down Second Street?
Yes,
Okay, and have we talked to the one guy that actually has his front door on that street?
we talked to Daryl the other night.
Mm-hmm.
Marty talked to one of the guys today, and he just would like to make sure nobody's on his property.
That sounds like maybe Walt could have been.
Yes,
Okay.
yep, that was probably him.
He would probably be my
And then-
biggest concern because it's literally gonna be at his front door and I just, it would be nice to have somebody on board if you're gonna do that to him.
Yes. And he did say like, that was his concern if there was people, like, make sure that they weren't. And hopefully nobody would be down that way anyway. I mean, we'll have that fenced in like we normally do, the double fencing.
Mhm.
And then, but the gate would be on the north end anyway.
Okay,
So I'm
And-
hoping nobody would even be
and the
down
street
that
dance is
side.
obviously gonna have a couple deputies.
Yes,
or
we'll have
so.
our security.
So we can assure him that there will be people there to watch that, and if he has any issues, there'll be someone there to respond immediately.
Yeah,
So, okay, and what date is this?
August 13th.
Okay. And that's a Saturday night,
Yes.
all right. Do we need any other information, guys? What's
What
that?
was the time, Michelle?
Oh,
8 to midnight. That way we weren't going too late.
okay.
Sounds good.
Well, do we have a motion?
They need anything from us, like.
Yeah, are you gonna need barricades or you got all the fence you need?
We'll get our snow fence that we have if we need it. Otherwise, we talked to Dave Green about in the past, he's given us use of his cattle or his gates,
Okay,
his specs that he sells.
all right. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I'll let you know, okay? Thanks, bye.
So you want a motion?
Gonna have one.
Okay. So I make a motion to allow the post-prom, Arlington Post-Prom Committee To shut down the streets August 13th from what time do they probably need to shut down if they're gonna start at 8? Probably.
Yeah, they'll probably
5.
start at
5 to 1 sounds good.
shut down
Second Street
from,
and Eagle.
yeah, Second Street between Eagle and the highway.
Mhm.
It might even be before 5, but just.
Yeah.
If you give the data.
Just so we can post it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we can post it on our normal spots we post things, post office, et cetera. So that's my motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second for closing down the street for a street dance on August 13th from 5 to 12, 5-ish to 12. On Second Street between Eagle and the highway. Is there any further discussion? No, let's vote on that motion.
Alex Kramer,
Aye.
Scott Corney,
Aye.
Gordon McGee.
Aye.
Jason
Aye.
Anderson, Paul Kraus.
Aye. F, discussion and possible approval of purchase of citizenship recognition award.
He went down to the Trustees and took pictures of things that he had.
I had sent.
They don't have email. Sounds like we made 2 trips for this.
I sent,
One of them was to get keys made.
Oh, okay.
I sent Nikki some information on what like school districts across the state use to awards unlimited, which is in Omaha and Lincoln too. So just to be able to maybe compare prices if we want to do that.
Yeah.
I think the only concern with like ordering it out somewhere is that you have to like send off when you get new names put on it and stuff.
We would have to send the whole plaque out or,
Well, you just, they just charge you to,
well, you'd buy the plaque with all the blanks on it, I would
Yep.
assume, right? Yeah, so you'd have to send it in.
you have to send it in to get it
Yeah,
graded.
you can get those marked anywhere.
This way we could just take them, but.
We just need a motion of saying like up to $300 for the
Yeah,
perpetual plaque. Is
that's the top one there, yeah.
that what you're thinking, Travis? Is what,
Yeah, something is awarded to each recipient and then a not identification award here in the building somewhere for who's won it over the years.
oh, I see then. So then, yeah, it's the acrylic award plus the
Yeah, we would have
plaque.
acrylic awards. Okay, that's the ones up top.
So that one goes to the individual, the award winner.
Yes.
So for this budget, we would need to approve probably up to $400, right? One for the first recipient and
The main plaque. Is that, am I seeing that right? Perpetual plaque. That's the one hung here, correct?
Mhm.
Yep. And the acrylic one's the one you're probably giving to the person. What page is that on again? I forgot.
55.
Thanks.
It's on 54.
I do like the acrylics better than the wooden. I guess all 3 of these are acrylic.
Well, we would want the wooden one. That's the one that's gonna hang here.
Yes, you're right.
And then,
So do you think 400 would cover the initial plaque and initial award?
Do you need to approve a total or can you just approve the perpetual plaque and then the like acrylic plaque or acrylic award up to this amount for each recipient? Instead of trying to calculate, since you don't know. how many.
yeah, it says the acrylic awards run 80 to 100. If we could just approve the plaque for that purchase price and then up to 100 and whatever per recipient.
That's probably gonna be the most accurate.
per recipient.
A motion to approve the purchase of a perpetual plaque and acrylic award to be purchased as per recipient. So Nick, is it the way you wanted it?
We'll just put the amounts in that motion, the $300 for the perpetual and the 80 to 100 for each acrylic award. Does that sound good? Is that the motion you meant to make?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. We have a second.
Second.
Nikki, we have a motion and a second for the approval of purchase of citizenship awards. If there's no further discussion, let's vote on that motion.
Scott McCorney,
Aye.
Gordon McGee.
Aye.
Jason Lacy,
Aye.
Travis Kramer,
Aye.
Paul Kraus.
Aye.
Which one did we do? 45 plate or the 36 plate?
I think we said it. I think we just said it.
So we just said it. Okay, gotcha. To me, it would make more sense to do the one with 45 plates than 36, the way you have it for a long period of time.
I think
Then you have to turn around and buy it again.
Yeah. And that was the 300 I thought we were proposing.
Perfect.
Yeah. All right, there's no further discussion. Let's move on to item 7A. Communications, seems like everything's been going smoothly this month. They're doing more hookups, but maybe I haven't heard something.
So far,
Okay.
just, continuing to communicate with ABB about going back and repairing some properties where damage was done, but that.
Do we have a running list of properties for that? Do you know?
I do not.
Do we just, okay.
And you're talking like sprinkler heads and stuff like that, or?
Like, I know, like the box in our backyard, they never did plant sod or anything around that. It's just still dirt everywhere. So that's why I didn't know if we need to, as a village, have citizens come contact us and then we pass it on to them, and would that be more meaningful, or individual citizens trying to contact them, or?
Yeah, I think it'd be better if we,
I mean, if we could get complaints and give them a list.
That's what I'm like, is that helpful or not?
Is that our job, Nikki?
No, I agree. I don't know if it is or not, but I'm like, would it be more meaningful?
I think we'll have better.
Then it becomes our job to make sure it gets fixed. And I don't know that that's our job. We just have had them contact them directly, and I haven't had anybody come back and say, well, for a while, it's been quite a while since someone has come back and said, I reached out to them and they're not doing anything. So I know that they have been fixing stuff and making things right most of the time, so.
So we advise residents to contact ABB or Cox first. And if they need escalation, if it doesn't meet their approval, then we can certainly support an escalation.
And that's what we've told them. If they aren't helping you, call us back.
Like, did they address your alley thing, or?
I don't know who's to blame. That alley's been crisscrossed for 6 months now.
Oh, gotcha.
I don't know who's in there. what do you do? Do you just ask them both to come and fix some of the potholes and the trench marks that are across the alleys, or what do we do?
I think both from our meeting last month, I think both of them would come out and visit the site like that with us, so we can certainly.
I mean, some of them we can trace the trench lines and say, well, this is going to your pedestal. And then, what are they just gonna put some rocks there, and then OPPD's been in there too, and I see OPPD did a pretty good job of smoothing out where they were at in our particular.
We did have, it was the sheriff's. Sorry. Let's check on the door. One interesting session at this conference was Lash at Learn telling us that the way the law is written right now, and it might be changing soon, but the way it's written right now, we can require excavation permits, require them to tell us exactly where they're digging, exactly when they're digging, and have them sign something that says that they're restoring it to the original condition.
Well, that sounds similar to what Blair does. Blair can pull permits of contractors if they're not happy with them. I don't know all the specifics of their permitting, but I know they have the ability to say, you're not a contracted trencher anymore.
And it might be a year and a half too late for us to do that, but anyway, the city has the authority to do that. So just throwing it out there.
Why don't I'll take the to-do so we'll get Cox and ABB to the alley. We'll meet with them and.
Yeah, I can set up a meeting. I don't want to call them out to a board meeting again or something like that.
That's
you
fine.
know?
That's fine. We'll just
Yeah, we can meet, yeah.
go over it.
Yeah,
Okay.
all right,
Let me know that date.
okay.
Glad to be happy to show them somewhere around that neighborhood too.
Okay.
Okay. Streets, I haven't gotten a hold of, what were we talking about? Last meeting, our Jay, what's his,
Steve?
Steve, haven't gotten a hold of Steve yet. I'd like to get some ideas on some of these projects we were talking about, what engineering would cost. And try and get that into our budget for next year at least, so I'll be getting in contact with Steve. See what we can do there. Anything else as far as a committee before we get to the quote you can think of? Item B, the street sweeper repair quotes.
Took it down to Chuck, down at Countryside Repair. He had repaired the compressor last year, but the seal he put in apparently takes this took on too much dust. Says this new compressor that he's getting should have a cover on it where it won't take on as much dust. I did get a price from McQueen just for the compressor. That is apparently a stock, I mean, for that machine. This is probably Paul, you would know more about that than me. The one that he quoted me is probably, they probably crossed the numbers on it. So it's not a Pelican or compressor.
A lot of those industrial
Yeah.
units take the same kind of compressor and they probably have an industrial grade that's made for street
So,
sweepers.
The one from McQueen is actually just the price of the compressor and a blower motor, which we need because the one that we have is currently drawing too many amps. He couldn't find a blower motor, so Chuck could not, but we found this one through McQueen. He asked me if we could get it, just the $284.58 blower motor, and he would put it in, or he didn't give me a price on putting it in. So if worst case scenario is Tyler and I can throw the blower motor in.
Okay,
But I would like you to approve the 848.41 so we don't bake in our street sweeper. Because it's almost nearly impossible to do anything without having an air conditioner in there because you literally bake in it. It's 150 degrees in there.
and it's gotta be kind of sealed up to keep the dust out of the cab, so.
Correct, yes. I mean, in the fall, yeah, we can run it, roll the window, put the window down and put a mask on or something, but right now it's just you bake in it.
And the blower motor you guys can put in, there's no need for special equipment for the.
And I could probably talk, Chuck took it out, I could probably just talk him into just throwing this one back in. It's probably I would imagine it's probably 4 screws and a couple of wire connectors for that price, so.
So you'll need,
I need you.
probably need to do it in 2 motions then, wouldn't we, Nikki? One
Yeah,
for
probably.
one for the repair estimate and one for the part.
Well, the part actually, I don't even know if we need approval because it's under 500. I mean, that's just maintenance on a vehicle,
Okay.
but the other one would be something that you probably have to approve.
Yeah, if you just want to get the blower motor and we don't need to approve a $284 part, then just do that. And we'll approve the estimate for that. Or we'll ask for a motion to approve the AC compressor.
So Chuck's gonna put in an AC compressor
You'll put
that's
the compressor in and charge it.
$518 versus.
It's 848.41. It's everything.
Gotcha. But he's got a different compressor than the one that McQueen has.
He does, he found one.
His is $518, whereas theirs is $1,200 or whatever,
Okay.
or $1,022.
Thank you for repeating that. I was a little confused.
I'll motion to approve the bid from Countryside Repair in the amount of $848.41 for the repair of the air conditioner on the street sweeper.
No, I think that's what Chuck did. I think that's what Chuck did.
So this is, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
You said the one Chuck is quoting us is more of an industrial type.
He
compressor.
said the seals are covered better than the one that.
Okay.
That he had replaced it with the first time.
Yes, well, the first time he just rebuilt it.
Rebuilt.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. So this is a new compressor.
This is a new compressor.
Gotcha.
And that one was covered, we paid half and McQueen paid half.
Because it went out. Yeah.
So we have a motion to approve the estimate from Countryside Repair. Did we get a second?
You bet.
And if there's no further discussion, let's vote on that motion.
Gordon McGee.
Aye.
Jason Weaver.
Aye.
Travis Kramer.
Aye.
Scott Klein.
Aye.
Paul Kraus.
Aye. MC People Services Report. I hear James has been busy. I'm glad you can make it to the meeting. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, sorry about my appearance. It's just a busy day.
So we don't need the blower then from McLean?
We do, but it's under.
Oh, because it's not
$500.
perfect. Okay.
And there probably shouldn't be labor, we're hoping.
And I think you guys
Gotcha.
have a credit with McQueen right now, so.
Gotcha. Okay. Didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh, sorry.
All right, so we've had lots of problems with the pumps down there.
The second one, which, I mean, that's an older pump. It was here during the flood. The seal went out on it and ruined the pump. The water gets in there and in the motor, ruins the motor. I guess it is during the flood that seal was compromised somehow, some way, because it should have gave me a warning before it just went out, and there was no warning. So, because we do have a seal light. The seal light was never on until I got the call that it was down, so. So now we're down, we have no pumps. I have a diesel pump that is connected right now in Pushing Fremont. It's running, it's about $2,000 a week to rent that. And we've had a lot of problems. Cat's been out 2 times. It's their equipment. I do not think we're getting charged for them coming out. They're repairing their equipment. First time they said it was a couple sensors, and then this weekend it was a bad alternator, a bad battery. We got that fixed. Today I had a leak in a hose just now at about 3 o'clock. I got that fixed. It's back up and running. I talked to Carrie today. I've been having a hard time getting a hold of Carrie. I don't know why. Leaving messages. He finally got back to me today. Parts for the pump that they do have, he said will be here in July, the beginning of July. So that keeps getting pushed back. I thought it was going to be here this month. He said July. He's still working on a quote for a new pump. So I called him. I said, is there any way you can give me a ballpark figure? He said, to be safe, a ballpark figure would be about $40,000 for a new pump.
One pump.
One pump.
And the recommendation is that we buy 3 pumps so that we have one backup, right?
Well, we're gonna have the one that they're repairing. And then if we buy a new one now.
And this new one will match that old, the one they're
Yes,
repairing. Okay,
exactly. And then they're gonna retrofit it to where they're the same when they're connected and everything. So
so then if we were to buy a backup pump that would be the same, then it would be easier for us to keep everything online.
drop one down and pull it out.
Okay.
For now, I definitely recommend
And what's the timeline on getting a new pump?
he's still working on that too. He doesn't have a price or a timeline.
Yeah,
I'm hoping the timeline for a new pump is a lot shorter than the timeline to fix the pump, but
is this a similar pump to what we have at the pool for the chlorine system? Because I remember that being a huge deal. I wonder why these pumps are so hard to get, I guess, is just my question.
yeah,
It might be on the same like scale, but it's way bigger.
Yeah,
I do have a quote. I didn't bring it with me for a service agreement through Iowa Pump. Once we get them here, I think we should do the service agreement. I think it was like $2,000 a year. But $2,000 a year to keep them up and running the way they should be instead of.
that's a week's worth of rental
Week, yeah.
on this diesel.
I think it would be worth it. I could bring that to the next meeting. Hopefully by then, both pumps will be back up and running.
So as it sits right now, they're planning on rebuilding both of the pumps we have?
No.
They're only gonna rebuild one.
Yes, I didn't have them come out and even pull the other one. Because I figured, they said it was bad. I figured we need a new one now. Just to get a new one.
So best option is to replace the one pump for $40,000-ish,
Yeah,
which is not a firm estimate.
no, it's just a ballpark figure.
And
He said it could be 42, could be 37.
yeah,
He couldn't give us a solid. If you guys want to, he said he might have the numbers tomorrow if you have to.
what's
make-
30 days of rental on that pump?
I
I
don't
mean, that's
know.
where we're at. We're waiting another month.
I don't know what a month is.
$2,000.
So that's $8,000 a month.
$8,000 a month, yeah.
And there's no other company to try to find a pump from or with, or
I'm trying, electric pump, his name's Jim Ray. I don't know if he's on vacation, but his voice, it goes straight to voicemail. And he hasn't called me back.
Would the board be comfortable making an okay of up to a certain amount so that we could save time on rental? And then have Travis and I review the quotes and make sure that we feel like we're getting a good option? Would you guys be okay with that?
Would you be approving one pump right now or two, besides the one being repaired?
The one being repaired plus one for now, and then I think down the road, we could probably approve the third one, the spare one, unless you wanted to,
Oh, no, I'm
just
just,
want to get it going now.
just
It
trying.
looks like we have only one payment coming up out of the water sewer account at the end of the year, which is less than 25% of what we have in there. So I think we could afford two pumps. They're probably not going to get cheaper, are they? Is there a time of year when pumps go on sale?
kind of guess
The
no.
spring sale? Did we miss the spring sale? Is that
I'm
what happened?
sure, I'm sure we did. That's things roll for
I
us.
asked Allison budget implications for this, and she did say that if we're gonna do it as soon as we can, so that we can amend the budget if we need to, as soon as possible. So she just said, let her know what dollar amount we end up at, and they will figure out, I mean, the cash is there because of those RBAC funds. So,
So why don't we just buy two for 90,000 right away and then have one that we're repairing be the,
Maybe that's the backup.
that's the backup. Wouldn't that make sense? Maybe not.
If there's two available. I mean, I can talk to him if that's how you guys want to go. Yeah.
That's a pretty big amount. We should probably put a top end on that. That we approve, and then maybe if you guys feel comfortable with Travis and I making the final decision, once he gives us some firm numbers.
Well, he said 42, that's why I threw out 90, because 45. So we
Should
don't.
we make a motion to approve up to $90,000 for two pumps for the waste station?
What do we have left in that budget right now?
We have 400,000 in the water sewer account. Actually, it's 500 this month. 500,000 to
And just the sewer?
water sewer.
This is an eligible expense for the rescue plan.
So there will also be another payment for the water side that I wasn't thinking of there. No, there's only one water sewer bond.
So is there, can we use ESSER funds for this one
the RBAC.
or whatever? So why wouldn't we buy two?
American Rescue Plan.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Yeah, let's get,
I'll make that motion 90,000, you thinking that?
James, 90.
Yeah, fingers crossed we can get two. That's 90. I hope so. That'd be great.
Or 95? What do you,
I think 90 should be good. I mean, he said 40, so
okay, 90?
maybe it'll give us a discount if we'd like to.
Yeah. So that sounds like a good plan though. If we can
Great
get- if we
plan.
can get two new ones.
Our back money behind it.
this stuff just nickels and dimes us with getting them shipped and getting them repaired. If we just buy two new ones and then we have the same one as a backup, I think we'll probably be better off.
Is there any risk of a backup pump sitting around aging? Is there anything, I mean, that thing,
With that service plan, would they service it if it's just sitting in the crate or whatever?
Probably not much to do to it.
Yeah.
I mean,
but there's no risk of, I mean, just sitting around.
I'll have to ask to be sure. I don't.
That'd be the only concern I would have. If we buy a pump and by the time we need it, it's garbage.
Yeah.
Zach said other These have backups.
Well, at this point right now, if we buy 2 new
Well,
ones,
won't you just have to keep it in a place that's probably somewhat climate controlled, maybe?
Well, yeah. That's what I was
I thought
gonna
big
say.
enough for that.
We can just put it in the other room over here.
No more executive sessions. This would be a centerpiece.
So we have a motion to approve up to $90,000 for 2 wastewater pumps at the force main.
I second it.
And we have a second.
Quick question, do we need to motion to note that we would be using the American Rescue Plan dollars for this? Is that necessary, or that's just, we take care of that through? Okay, thank you.
I filled out the paperwork so that anything that is the city providing a service to the residents qualifies now, so.
Well, there you go. That's providing a service, getting rid of
All
their.
right. Well, it sounds like we have multiple options to pay for it, so if there's no further discussion, let's vote on that motion.
Travis Kramer,
Aye.
Scott McCorney,
Aye.
Gordon McGee.
Aye.
Jason
Aye.
Massey, Paul Kraus.
Aye. Anything else you want to add, or is that enough?
I think that's good for now.
Yeah,
Do you guys have any questions? I mean,
no,
it's been a
I,
bit of a nightmare. I'll just tell you that.
yeah. I thought we were through all this when they were done putting fiber in, thought we were done with the problem, but
That was water, I guess. This
yeah, obviously, there's always something else around the corner, so.
And it's okay if you haven't heard, but have you by chance heard anything on that SCADA quote?
Nobody will give me a quote until we're ready to actually spend the money, because the prices right now are, I mean, in a month, they nuts
Okay.
on any kind of electrical components. The prices are just too up and down.
How much was that, do we think, ballpark?
We were guessing 100. Is that what it was in my notes?
110.
Yeah. That's okay.
And again, that's, I mean, we are kind of piecing it together right now, but this is definitely more important than,
Yeah.
as long as we can keep it up and running.
Yeah, I wonder if, we had Becker in here, Becker Trans, I don't know if they do anything like that. What if it'd be worth a call to him? To see if he's got any other routes or avenues for pumps.
Okay.
He's he's got a lot of contacts. That's
Yeah.
what I was originally trying to ask him, like, is there another,
Yeah.
other than this Iowa pump company or whatever? Because he has,
Can you-
I'll try to get some other.
Send me specs and I'll call him and see if he's got any idea. But give me some kind of a vague generalization of what that pump is, or,
Yeah, I took a picture of the sticker.
okay,
I'll just,
yeah, send it to me and I'll call him and find out if he has any other options. And you're trying to go through who right now?
electric pump, his name's Jim Gray. And then Iowa pump, who's got our one pump.
Okay,
His name's Kerry.
and that's typically who people service works with, is that what?
Iowa pump, yeah.
Okay.
okay. I'll see if we got any other options to check and we'll go from there then. But yeah, as soon as we can get rid of that rental machine, I think we should try and get that done. So
Thanks for all your work, James. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
thank you. We appreciate it. All right,
See ya.
item D, Washington County Sheriff's Report. We've got Mike. How's it going, Mike?
Good, how's it going with you guys?
Good.
I got a question for you. How often are deputies pulling over ATVs, UTVs, et cetera?
I don't have an answer to that. If they,
To just see if they have stickers or if they're in compliance or
Yeah.
if it's after it's sunset. I've seen several around town after sunset.
yeah,
I've had several phone call complaints of people that are not licensed drivers, kids driving. So if you could just make your deputies aware of that, I'd appreciate it.
I'll do that, Jason. We have the same issue in Fort Calhoun. we need to have some type of probable cause to stop somebody when we're talking about licensing stickers and stuff like that. However, being an unlicensed driver, being a young one, yeah, that's obvious, and being after dark. I will send out the ordinance from Arlington to the guys and tell them to pay attention to that.
Thank you, appreciate it.
You bet.
Did you have anything else, Scott?
I can think of.
That was the only one that I've had people reach out.
Yeah, if there's a street dance in town and a liquor license associated with that, you guys are definitely gonna be there for that street dance, right?
Yes, I heard you say 2 deputies, so they'll have to hire them off duty. They'll pay them. But they will also have.
I was just recalling any other situation where I'd seen a street dance, and usually you have a couple deputies. I wasn't putting a number on it. But I worry when we're putting a street dance in front of somebody's door that we're making sure that they know we're doing what we can.
Yeah, absolutely. I think last time they had one, we had 2 deputies there. First year they did it, I did it myself. Didn't charge them. But yeah, we'll definitely, they give us a call anytime and we'll work with them on that.
Okay. Anything, did we have any questions on the tip line or anything? I thought how's that working? Any tips that you've had come in from our damage at the park?
I have not heard of any tips that have come in. I know it's been put on Facebook and shared numerous times, a lot of comments on Facebook. But as far as I know, it hasn't generated any worthwhile tips.
Okay.
I spoke with Greg Korn and we had a good conversation. He gave me a few insiders information on people to watch, but
okay,
if we see any suspicious activity. So we have some faces to put with names now. So
okay. Anything you have for us, Mike?
I have nothing.
Anybody else have anything for?
Did you find anything out about those bike helmets?
About the what permit, Nikki?
The bike helmets?
Oh, the bike helmet. I thought you said permit. I'm sorry. No, I should have something for you this week. I have not forgot about it. I can tell you the Arlington SRO, I was hoping would be able to assist with that, is on vacation out of town that day. So I got to line somebody else up.
Okay. We were gonna try and do bike helmets at that farmer's market. That first.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, if there's nothing else for Mike, thanks for your time, Mike.
Thanks, guys. Stay cool.
All right.
You too. Take care, Mike.
Item E, Parks, Travis and Gordon, do you guys have anything for us?
You just stopped by the auditorium today and looks like they're making really good progress on the restrooms. So they're gonna start tiling tomorrow, John. Does that sound about right? I think that's what he was saying.
did not, I saw him last Thursday. He said they were gonna be done drywalling, so they
Yeah,
were gonna paint, so.
yeah, drywall's pretty well done when I stopped by there today. Looks, I'm coming together. So how have you been pleased with the contractor and the way things have been?
Everything seems to be going good.
The change order they're requesting, the majority of that, do you think that's unseen?
Misled on it, but yes, I think so, because he originally asked in the change order, it didn't say everything. It didn't say the part about we see plumbing doing all new underground in it. It just said insulation.
And that underground plumbing was something they couldn't have foreseen.
No.
Okay, that's my concern. I always wonder when we get these change orders, how much was unforeseen and how much was poor planning. Yeah.
Other than we've been talking to Merritt about wages for the swimming pool lifeguards, making sure that we're competitive when we do have our wage ordinance coming up. It needs to be read here very soon in the next month or so to start that. And we've had a few conversations now, just making sure that we're prepared.
Does anybody,
I'm gonna make that motion for the.
do we have anything on the library report first?
No.
Any questions or concerns there? They have no bills for us, so that's fine. Other than normal books I saw. All right, if there's nothing, no comments on the library report, let's, I would entertain a motion to approve the change order from JFK Construction.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the change order from JFK Construction to add insulation and keep pipes from freezing for the amount of $1,590. That also includes some, it was iron piping, correct?
One second.
We have a motion and a second for the approval of change order from JFK Construction as presented. If there's no further discussion, let's vote on that motion.
Scott Corney,
Aye.
Gordon Deep.
Aye.
Jason Lacy.
Aye.
Travis Kramer.
Aye.
Paul Kraus.
Aye. Item D, discussion and approval of purchasing new lights to replace broken walking path lights.
Insurance is paying for these. We just have to approve the purchase of them. We'll get reimbursed.
We have
For
six,
your guys' time, I need to get them.
yeah,
There's no shipping on that. Can't believe that.
That's including the shipping.
The 2069.
Any concerns? No, I don't think there's.
I wish we could get them to give us a heavy duty pole, but
Yeah.
it's, yeah, we need to keep them up, keep them matching. Hopefully we'll find a way to curb this vandalism.
Well, I'll motion to approve the quote from Gamasonic. Is it Gamma or Gamma? Gamma, Gamasonic in the amount of $2,069.88 for 6 replacement light fixtures.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second for the approval of purchasing 6 new lights and poles. Lights and brackets is all. The poles are fine. Okay. 6 new lights and brackets in the amount of $2,069.88. There's no further discussion. Let's vote on that motion.
Gordon Deep.
Aye.
Jason Lacy. Travis Kramer.
Aye.
Scott Corney.
Aye.
Paul Kraus.
Aye. Item F, cemetery. You guys have anything new for us this month?
Really nothing to report. I think pretty soon we'll probably meet with the That's Club board and just make sure we're all on the same page and especially with that. I like that idea we talked about, not allowing that storage container out there, maybe get a nice little shed. If we could talk to Rogers and
Yeah,
see if that would be something they could use, it'd look a little better. I went, I like to see some nice landscaping in that rock around that nice monument. Now, I know there's some, I forget who the individual was that originally donated that, but I'll have to talk with this fella. I think he knows that, but we got her this far, let's spruce her up and keep going a little bit.
no,
Agree.
all right. Item G, administrative, Washington County permit report. I didn't see anything terribly exciting there. Doesn't look like any new construction, but
They got a permit for that.
The Kindler, isn't it?
350.
Nash, right? Isn't that it?
Yeah.
Michael and Lindsay Kindler.
See that?
Stores top, says new construction.
Well, I think they do.
There's highlights on
I
there.
didn't miss,
Highlights are
it's so hard to see that
Oh,
highlight. I missed that one. Yep. Well, that's good. Keep filling those lots up. Item B, discussion and possible approval of making the deputy clerk position full-time. We just need a motion, you said, to do that. And then we had talked about the hours.
Nobody came anyway, really, so.
And what's your latest hour now? Are you still going till 5 on one of those nights? Is that what it was Tuesday, or do we go back
We've
to?
just gone back to the
Okay,
9 to 3, but I always tell people if they call, you know, if you see my car, just knock on the door.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I'm here till 6. So.
what would the board like to see for hours? I think 5 is the latest we need to be open, in my opinion.
I don't think anyone expects us to be open later. than that.
If we've tried that till 6 and it doesn't work, and how many government offices do you know that are open past 5? So
So it'd be 8 to 5. Is that,
9 to 5, I don't.
or
it's-
4:30, or do you have any suggestions?
Because now we're 9 to 3.
what do we actually, so the window's open from 9 to 3. What are we actually staffed right now from?
I'm usually here from 8-ish till 5. I'm usually here at least till 5, 4:30 or 5, unless I have an appointment. Sometimes I leave at 3 when the window closes, but.
And is that your intent
And
for
then
Nikki
Kate's
as
here at
or
9
Kate
to
as
3
well?
right now. What's that?
Is that your intent for Kate, that she'd be here 8 to 5 as well?
Probably would be 8 to 4.
8 to 4.
Yeah. I just talked to her about if she would want to, because right now we just kind of eat lunch at desk. And just because there's not really, neither one of us can go home for lunch and there's not really anywhere to go, so we just kind of eat. So I asked her if she would want to keep doing that or if she would want to take an hour for lunch or what. And she's been wanting an 8 to 4 shift for a very long time, so.
She doesn't have any interest in doing the 9 to 5, so we could always have it open till 5.
Well, I'm usually
Even-
here till 5. I mean, if I needed to leave early and we needed to be open till 5.
She would be able to
I'm sure
stay?
she would stay
She'd come in later or something.
I think just day to day.
Because I think 2 to 5 would be important. I think that would be okay, since we're gonna make it a full-time position.
I agree.
As long as it can be covered by either one of you, it doesn't make a difference to me who does it.
Is that track here, but 8 to 4, I mean, we need to have her take a lunch though, right? I mean, that's gonna side of that.
Well,
Because she's taking like the hourly or your salary.
she can, yeah, I mean,
We went through this before where we're worried that if we don't force people to take a lunch, we could be liable for any injury that happens from overworking people.
Yeah, we talk about it all the time. We like to keep our checks working as long as we can, but we do need to take that 45 minutes or else we can be in trouble.
Yeah, there was a business that I was familiar with where, you know, folks were able to eat their lunch at their desks and they caught some heat for that. It was not good.
she can clock out for half an hour.
Or both of you don't live in town. I get what you're saying there too.
I mean, we can go sit in the lunchroom for a half hour, but that's not fun. So,
I think we just can't require folks to sit at their desk and eat their lunch and work. I think that's kind of the main thing that I heard from. Went through this before.
And it's definitely not a requirement. And I've always said, like, if you want, you know, to go somewhere for lunch, go do it. I said, I do it this way because I
Mhm.
am not gonna go sit in that room and stare at the refrigerator. So,
Easier to start the pile of work you should be doing right now.
right.
And just to make sure they have the option to leave.
Yes, definitely.
Would it be worth a call to Cham to check on the legal ramifications of that?
I have textbooks I can
Okay.
look it up pretty easy.
I,
Sure, she just needs to clock out for a half hour to be.
we can't have this discussion and then not, we got to do the right thing there, because I don't want the city, I don't want the board to get in trouble for forcing you guys to do something illegal.
You're not.
Or,
Yes, I will make sure that we're not breaking the law, I promise.
So it'll be 8:30 to 5 for a half hour lunch. If we're paying her hourly, we don't want to pay her for more than 8 hours a day.
Right.
what do you think would work if we're doing lunch? Well, I mean, what do you think she's gonna want?
And have her take a half hour lunch.
All right, so we need a motion that says what? Just amend the deputy clerks to full-time position with 40 hours a week. And are we gonna do the same in lieu of insurance? We're already giving her the day.
That's how our policy is written, that
The stipend.
full-time employees get those benefits.
Okay, so then all we just have to do is make her full-time.
Motion to change the hours to the public as well.
You guys decided to make a motion for that.
We did not.
We didn't make an official motion when we tried the Tuesday nights late, so.
It's just the policy change.
8 to 5.
For me, this also hinges on, I really want to see us get the treasury back in house, so I'd like to see your estimated or some input from you on how we move forward from that.
I think we have a pretty strong argument for asking them to go back to being our auditor.
Okay.
I don't know if you guys have been paying attention to what happened in Oakland, but we can talk about it.
In the last couple of weeks. Oh, I haven't. I'll have to look into that.
Calling for it, ready for it.
Yeah, somebody wants to make that motion, I think we're ready for it. I don't-
I'll make a motion to, what do we want to use for the words? Want to use this? Amend?
To amend the policy
Yep, amend the
for deputy
policy.
clerk.
Yep. Approval for making the deputy clerk position a full-time position and including all the rights and responsibilities that go along with such.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. There's no further discussion. Let's vote on that motion.
Jason Lansing,
Aye.
Travis Fan,
Aye.
Scott DeCorney,
Aye.
Gordon McGee,
Aye.
Paul Jones.
Aye. Item C. Were you able to talk to anybody from Plainview at your conference?
There, I looked and nobody I knew was there. I was hoping. I was really hoping someone would be there. Talk about this stuff. The only thing they talked about that kind of goes along with the vacant property stuff is the new creative district funds that I was kind of wondering if maybe we rename the comprehensive plan committee something like creative district visioning committee, something that sounds more fun to be part of, honestly. There's a great big pot of money out there for that if we can get people on board with that.
Well, my question after talking to him is, do we need to do our comp plan first? He's talking strat plan. The strat plan is a specific focus on how we do what our comp plan is. Do we feel like we need to revise our comp plan? Or do we just go right to a strategic committee that helps us work on our downtown? Because anything we do is going to take months of meetings.
I think they have a very rigid, I mean, they're part of the university and I think they have, just like MAPPA has their rigid structure and UNL Extension has their rigid structure. And I think that a lot of that groundwork is already done. here. So I mean, I don't know that you need to start from the beginning and redo everything.
Is it that Ogallala Western whatever? To me, I thought that's who you said that Plainview utilized to write the.
Yeah, and they're,
To write the
ordinance-
nuisance code.
Yeah.
yeah, and
And
they're,
then he made it sound like they also, because I was jotting stuff down, they did the windshield inspection and helped them do the vacant property registration, created the ordinance. Because let's be honest, that's where we struggle is the windshield inspection.
Do you think they're gonna do all this stuff without charge?
That's what I was-
so far, MAPA, I know charges for it.
I thought
they
they said
did,
they
yeah.
were all for a fee.
I think that's,
Yeah.
it sounded to me like.
I'm okay with paying the fee.
Someone else to do that. I don't think the UNL extension is doing the windshield thing.
I'd
Maybe,
like to-
Probably found them.
But didn't he say there was like a group, an Ogallala group? It wasn't,
Yeah,
didn't make it
that was
sound,
referenced in that.
it was a Western something or other.
Didn't we hire somebody to do our?
We did. MAPPA did it that one time. MAPPA did it that one.
my understanding is they came one time
Came one
and
time.
identified stuff.
They came.
And then we
for-
made a long
They came
list.
for one period of time.
Yes.
They did a survey. They did several rechecks on the
Yes.
properties to make, he was there through the process. We had probably 3 or 4, 3 to 6 properties that went, at some point.
I mean, that was
through
that was way back to the sheer. I mean, that's
been a while.
a long time.
Yeah.
I'll keep getting information on that. But no, I did not unfortunately have a chance to talk to anyone from Plainview.
I kind of feel like we should hold off on this for a little bit, try and get more information, make sure how we want to implement it.
We don't have an ordinance anyway, so.
Okay.
I'd say utilize the stuff that he talked about tonight and that group. And he keeps talking about bringing people in. So whoever the person he can bring in.
Hopefully someone that can steer people in a common direction at a meeting, because it seemed like the last meeting we had was really hard to get everybody talking about the same thing.
Do we have a list of the people that they wanted to focus in on the downtown revitalization? So do you remember like when we met at the senior center, when we did the strategic plan and we had the like 3 or 4 different groups? And then one of those groups, because I know one of the people was like Greg Sampson. He was interested in the downtown revitalization. And I know there was other people, but I don't remember who the other people were. So I don't know if we have that list somewhere,
Gosh, I don't know.
because those would be good people. Like
Yeah.
maybe, I don't remember who it was.
That was back when we may not have had the best bookkeeping.
Right. No, I know.
I'll see if Nikki can find anything from those meetings.
So anything that would have been from when we had a strategic plan.
But yeah, I have the notes.
Yeah, so the meeting, I don't remember the date, but I know the place was at the senior center.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I have seen.
And there was like 3 different groups.
We'll go through that and review and see if there's anybody there that we're not asking to be part of stuff and try and get a group together. I was kind of surprised when he said 4 to 5 people in the group. That, to me, that sounds low, but I mean, if we really had a group of people, I think we could draw more people to the group, but it is hard to get more than 4 or 5 focused in one direction. So
Calendars and all that stuff.
he's probably right. Okay, so we'll table that. Or do we need to table it, or do we just wait until we need to talk about it again? How do you want?
Let's put it on unfinished business.
Okay. Item D, discussion about adjusting the Board of Trustees payments and employee meeting stipends. I know none of these have changed since I've been on the board. I feel like it's something we should talk about. I see you've got part of the ordinance in here. I didn't see the actual numbers portion of it.
Yeah, it's not in this part of it, and I know I've seen it a couple times and I can't remember where I found it before, and I just ran out of time to find it. I just put this in there because this is the part that says you have to change it by ordinance.
So I wonder if we need to look at stipends for meetings, if those should be adjusted. Does a special meeting and a stipend for any other employee, should they be the same amount? These are my questions.
The stipend is in the handbook, so that can just be a motion to change that.
For the staff.
Or a resolution, we can change the meeting stipend, but for you guys,
What's the ordinance say right now for us?
For us,
It's
it's
gotta be under
$150 per meeting. It's next, or per month.
per meeting, and then $50 for each, so you guys each get 50 for less.
For a special meeting.
For a special meeting, yeah.
Can we have Kate call out to surrounding village boards? Just
I was trying to find mine. We've got a list of that.
Oh, do we?
People email that out every couple months in the
Yeah.
clerk group. I
Oh,
mean,
so you guys, so you can pull it up?
I can,
I'd like to see some other numbers before we do.
I know we had it. When we were doing that wage discussion, I thought. I just couldn't find it in my.
they're all over the place, like every other wage thing.
Oh, I'm sure they are.
It's,
I was just curious.
it's,
Is it something we can put in next month with the numbers and? Or should we start on that now? What do you suggest?
it's up to you. I mean, we can do and draw up an ordinance and just leave the number blank, and you guys can decide on a number and then read it, but. I think it's really hard with wages to base it on any other surrounding. I know it's easier for you guys to justify it if you can say, point to it and say, this is what they do here, but they're not.
There's some crazy variations.
There,
You can't base it on population, you can't base it on location, you can't, I mean, there's just no rhyme or reason to it.
and I don't know that we need to make it difficult. I just like to see us make a change in it so that we continue to draw people, you know.
$50 increase or $100 increase? I mean, I don't.
Whatever the board thinks is fair. I don't want to drive this discussion as the price, but I think you're right there in what I was. Any range in there.
It'd be great to surrounding communities, even if there's a wide range, at least we're informed about what the.
And do the meeting stipends and the special meetings, do they need to be different prices? Can they be the same? You know, I don't know. I wonder.
Like a strategic planning meeting versus
Any special meeting for us is $50. The stipend for employees is $45, right? Do those need to be different? Do they need to be more? Is $50 enough? Is $45 enough to come to a special meeting? These are the questions that I have.
Gotcha.
So do we just have them draw up a blank ordinance next month and we'll put numbers in if we decide to change anything?
That's the easiest.
Okay. That sounds good.
Would that also be read 3 times?
That's an ordinance, I think, right? So I feel like
I don't
anytime,
want to waive it.
I don't think we would want to waive that.
Considering our
Right.
pay. I don't think we want to waive that.
That's kind of what I was going, is that
And if we start in July, that still gives us before elections and the end of the year, so. Okay. That's, did we miss anything? Not, I say we're all the way down to item 8.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for adjournment. If there's no further discussion, let's vote on that motion.
Travis Kramer.
Aye.
Scott McCorney.
Aye.
McGee.
Aye.
Jason Lacy.
All right.
Paul Kraus.
Aye.